What's up guys, it's Valk here. A question I get asked a lot on my stream is what are the worst and best maps for Pharah? We're going to take a look at a few and I'll explain why, in my opinion, these maps are not great or really good for Pharah. I can only talk from the experiences from the games that I've played. The biggest killer for Pharah is space. First of all, let's take a look at the maps I consider to be more difficult to play as Pharah, starting with Ilios Ruins stage. The layout of this stage or this map is considered different than most. The reason that I consider this a bad Pharah map is because there's so much open space with very little environment to hide behind to keep safe or sneak up on targets. When you rely on environment to keep safe, the Ruins offers very little in support. You've got a couple of pillars, a statue, and the bridge. Other than that, you're very exposed. There's a whole host of locations for hitscan players to be, far away enough to dodge incoming rockets, but with plenty of time for them to take you down. You might know my style to play Pharah is aggressive from a short to medium range, but preparing to attack on this map is half the challenge. Once you've captured the point, Pharah becomes more powerful due to the choke points, but is still very vulnerable. Ruins is a map that I will frequently switch on, but you can also have great games with Pharah. Moving on to the second map, which I find Pharah isn't as effective as she could be. It isn't the whole map, but just a section. On Dorado, Pharah is a very strong hero for defense on first point, but after first point, this can prove to be very difficult for a couple of reasons. This is mainly on attack. The second capture point on Dorado consists of a double high ground in separate locations. This means that from either side you flank from, you're vulnerable to attack. This point proves to be a challenging one for Pharah, and as said before, forcing you into space, which is a big risk. The third point for Pharah is also not ideal. It can still force you into the open, but it is much better than the second point. A lot of the times when I'm pushing, I'd be behind our Reinhardt shield, but you can also flank on the right hand side, go underneath, and flank to the high ground. I never get too excited when Route 66 comes up. The map again is considered to be very open with little environment to keep safe. The style of play would have to be safer on defense and very ballsy on attack. Either way, to be effective on Route 66 you have to play strong, which sometimes means putting yourself in vulnerable situations. Once you know where players are, being confident you can dive and wipe out back lines, as exampled in this clip. I've been trying to narrow down my idea of why maps are good and bad for Pharah, and it comes down to the following. How open is the space and how much danger will it put me into when I'm forming an attack? What are my escape route options, and can I use my abilities to keep myself safe? Is there something my own team can control easily, such as high grounds, and create enough pressure to ease any major problems? This reflects back to Dorado, in which both high grounds can be problematic to control. It all boils down to how effectively you play Pharah. You can take a map which she's more prone to damage on, but if your playstyle means she can keep safe while contributing to the team, then Pharah can still be an option. Let's talk about maps which Pharah is effective on. And the first one nearly breaks the rule about space, Lijiang Tower Garden stage. Lijiang Tower Garden is a map which has many open spaces, but due to the nature of attacks, Pharah can be utilised massively. To start with, the bridge boop, and once you have control of the capture point, it can be very difficult to get past the choke points. There are only two real entrances to the map, and anything which forces the enemy team to push through small rooms or through a big choke point means that Pharah can deal large amounts of damage or simply knock them off. The reason Garden Stage breaks the rule is because of how much space there is with not much environment to keep safe, but the entrances for the enemies nearly negates this threat so long as you play safe and not too high. What we're doing here is using Pharah's abilities in combination with the map geometry to your advantage. This means maps which have boop locations, maps which force enemies to group together to push, maps which you can flank around but keep yourself safe if you get into trouble. Another map I love to play is King's Row. This is because of the amount of high ground, safe places, environment to hide behind, flanking locations and boop spots. King's Row has the perfect combination for a fun Pharah map, making use of all her abilities which can ultimately lead you to the win. There are corner choke points and sneaky flank routes to get you prepared for your ultimates. Maps which allow you to take the high grounds and keep hidden and safe are great. King's Row offers many alternative routes to the same locations. Even if you're out of the line of sight of your healer, there are plenty of health packs around King's Row that you can easily pick up and then flank back out to keep yourself safe. Another one of my favourite maps to play is Temple of Anubis. It hosts the same great benefits to Pharah, including incredible choke points, insane flank routes, and plenty of environment to hide behind. There are some great hidden locations to defend using Pharah, which makes her a valuable asset to the team. Anubis offers great cover when preparing to attack, again with multiple route options to proceed from. I always find that if I can flow an attack from multiple angles and glide around with ease, usually this means it's a great map for Pharah. This clip shows usage of the map's environment to keep safe while causing damage to the enemies. You'll notice when enemies are distracted in their own combats, they'll often, but not always, ignore the Pharah, allowing you to get to the back line. To summarise a good map for Pharah, this is a map which has plenty of locations to keep safe, even when you dive in for attacks. Maps which force the team into small choke points, which means high amounts of damage can be dealt. Maps which have routes for flanking that can be used to your advantage. Maps which have booping locations which can lead to easily taking out an enemy. I hope you now understand from my point of view what makes a great and bad Pharah map. This isn't to say Pharah won't work on some of the maps, but it may prove to be more difficult than others. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe for more content, drop a thumbs up and add a comment. You can also see the Pharah gameplay live on my Twitch channel Valkyr every day. If you love my content, you can support me by subscribing to my Twitch channel, and if you have Amazon Prime, you can link that with Twitch and get Twitch Prime and subscribe for free. However, this does need to be renewed every 30 days, but it helps me out a ton. The link to the stream is in the description.